let's just be real. I don't think majority of women have an OnlyFans. Majority of women are not out here thotting, right? I want to emphasize this. All OnlyFans did was show you who the hoes were. They was hoes before OnlyFans came. They were. If anything, it just now you know. You didn't have no second guessing. You know,
you just gave them a platform.
You just gave them a platform to let them. You can see it now.
See, I'm not on OnlyFans.
That's been my point this entire time, though. Like even with what Chicago really is saying, like if we carry ourselves as men that love our wives and we show that to these young men and young women out there to say, hey, look, every black male out there isn't like this. If you carry yourself in this manner, then you can get a woman that carries herself in this manner. Woman, if you carry man, if you carry yourself in this manner, you will attract a woman that does the same. We attract who we are. So if we have that capability, and once we give ourselves that power back, then we can change everything of this culture. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter who is trying to push whatever out there, because no, this ain't what we doing over here. This is what we doing. We loving our wives. We taking care of our families. We supporting the community. Oh, nigga, you outside, man, get off the corner, bro. Move around. This ain't happening over here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you want to come take my daughter out? No, you got to go about it this way. Come have a talk with me. Sit down. You know what I'm saying? There was a process that we went through at one point in time, but we not doing that anymore. So the only people that we can blame for that, in my opinion, because I'm all about accountability, is ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So, and I 100% agree that we have to get back to the community standards of where this is law. And if you ain't following law, then you're going to have an issue.
Be gone.
All right. So, yeah, I agree with AP. He touched on, me and him both been saying this since the beginning. Like, just stop showing them attention, positive or negative. Attention is attention. It's a dopamine hit and it's a drug. People going to run their way to it. And people may reform. That goes to the overall general point about men being in a proper position or mindset will, by proximity, create better women or better options, as long as they hold fast to their boundaries and not accepting and tolerating things that are unacceptable and should not be tolerated. I think the issue, I often speak about how happy I am, how beautiful and well treated that I am. And you know what ends up happening to me? Take a wild guess. When I speak about the wonders and the greatness of women or my woman, what do you think happens when I do?
So you an anomaly. That's just you.
Man, no, he's a simp and a feminist.
That's the only thing that I can say with that, and I'm pretty sure that may be true. And the only thing that I can say to that is for you to change the circle.
No, so all right. So I'm of a mindset. I really don't give a fuck what nobody else think. Like right. I be in the middle of the little room saying it because their statements don't bother me, right?
Yeah.
And my reason for saying it is to do exactly what we're talking about, promote the positivity that exists within the women.
Yeah.
But this is to the loud minority thing.
Right.
The loud minority seem to be with most things, people who have a negative experience are extremely more eager and loud about talking about how negative that experience is. So it can overcome all the other things, especially when it seems to be a sore spot for them. So a lot of the men who actually have positive experiences, they might mention it or they might tiptoe around it, or they might, because it's triggering to the men who aren't having those experiences. Right. They almost view it as if you're almost. They view it as if you are personally attacking them when you talk about the positive side of women and the interactions with women.
For sure.
And in them doing that, it's hard for them to then receive any message you give them after that, because they get defensive. They'll try and go as far as to tear you down, tear your family down, tear your wife down. They will find things to pick at to try and destroy the image that women can be good.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to actively engage in that for the betterment of the conversation, it does two things. One, the men who are watching, who may come up on the panels or who go on other panels, if they don't feel like engaging and fighting with these men and fighting all the men that feel this way, that seem to harbor in one space, they'll just be quiet about it. Or they'll find the one negative thing that they can find about their wife and speak about it so that they can fit in with the group.
Yeah.
It's most of the time men typically don't be agreeable, but in this specific space, men are extremely agreeable with that concept about how they view women. And I don't particularly think all of them view them that way. I think the loud minority overshadows the conversation and pushes them further to one side than they naturally are. And by doing that, they may, if I was to just give good faith, maybe they feel like they're educating people on their experience and how not to avoid it. But a lot of times it comes off as if they're fear-mongering, right?
Yeah.
And that fear-mongering is what these kids are hearing, the boys specifically.
Yeah.
And they're
looking for it.
They're instead of trying to figure out where the women that they should be with are, it seems like they're trying to figure out where the bad woman is to avoid her. But they're looking at all the women and finding it could be a good woman. I'll see one thing. Oh yeah, she's one of the bad ones. She's one of the bad ones. She's one of the bad. All of them are the bad ones.
Yeah.
The kids, they had a panel on DJ Hamlin panel where they was talking about relationships with the people under us. Them kids never been on child support. They never been divorced, but they carried the scars of those men who've had those issues as if they lost their kid. They lost their money. They lost their finances. They lost everything that was good about life. And it's disheartening to see, because if I'm having a good faith conversation, I want to believe that the men who are telling them the horror stories are just informing them. But at some point, it feels as though they're like trauma bonded.
Yeah,
and then
that's all it is.
And then
no, that's indoctrination, Wizzle.
Yeah, that was.
Hey, they? My bad. Go ahead, brother.
No. And when they do that, and then it's like the things that would be beneficial to us as a whole, like so treating women better, so that you can have a successful relationship where y'all can actually come together. I mean, that's simping. You don't do no shit like that. You don't show no respect to these women.
Nice.
You don't respect people. You know what I'm saying? These women don't like men who respect them. But why are all the married men respectful?
Right.
Y'all just simps. So do women like simps? No, simps don't get no women. So you telling me to not be a simp to get the results that you got, because that's what women like, but you don't got the women that you
want.
Make it make sense. It don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And I think that the issue is that these people have a platform to say this rhetoric on. One of the things, and for me personally, I rebranded myself as Viz the Love Poet. My company that I have, where I film weddings and document life, is called A Love Poet Storytelling. And that's to intentionally combat what is going on right now. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not talking about people being in love and the power of love, especially in the Black community. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. And even for me, with me rebranding myself in that manner and really focusing on love, loving a woman, loving my fellow man. I've had men that I've grew up with in the streets, you know what I'm saying, say, man, I want to re-propose to my wife, man. I want to do this. I want to do this way. I see what you're doing, bro. I love it, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to stand out to certain people. It's going to stand out to the people that need it and that's looking for it. The people that's not looking for it and they don't want it, they don't need it, they're not going to get it. I always say Jesus couldn't save everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's all that you can do is continue doing what you're doing. Continue loving on your wife. Continue talking about how much she take care of you, how much you take care of her, how much how strong that bond is, the power of it, what comes from it, the fulfillmentness that comes from it. That's all that we can do. Speaking into giving life into what it is that we want to see and be the outcome for future generations to come. That's a big reason why I have a issue with giving away the power that we have as individuals to create our society into being what it is that we want it to be, because that's the only way that it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna compare it to everybody else is not experiencing it because they didn't allow for it to happen. You know what I'm saying? So if we take back the power that we have as individuals, as people, as family, as culture, then there's nothing that can combat that. The people that needs it, that wants it, they're gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? And the people that don't, that's just the way that it's going to be. And that, as far as with what we know in this universe in which we live in, of where we have to acknowledge polarity, there's always going to be one with the other. So all that we can do is save who we can save. If I can save one person, that one person may be able to save another one, and that other one may be able to save another one, and we now begin to see this trickle effect happen, and where we can get our community back to where it is that we want.